So what else this year?
Going into the year, you were actually not working. You were a stay-at-home mom.
I wasn't.
And
So
that was not part of
that wasn't
any
the plan. That was no plan.
Welcome back to another episode of In Comes the
Money
where we discuss life, business, and relationships
from the perspective of millennials.
And that's us. So the topic for this episode.
What about your name?
That's right.
So he's Pekens and I'm Deniqua.
That is true. So this is our first time trying out this new intro.
And apparently we still don't have it down, so.
No, so we'll just keep that.
Yep, okay. So what's our topic?
I was getting ready to start over too.
It's okay. What's our topic for today?
Topic for today is setting goals. Where are you now? And it is a two-part episode.
Mm-hmm.
There's the first part, we're identifying and assessing where you currently are, so that you can identify the goals that you need to focus your energy on.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can have a lot of goals, but you probably shouldn't work on all of them at the same exact time. And then the second part is about actually doing the goals and how to accomplish the goals that are most important to you.
Yeah. So figuring out where you are now and where you want to be. So like he said, one of the main things in this episode, we're going to be talking about figuring out kind of the things that I guess where you want to be. So what's missing, and figuring out that will kind of help you figure out what you want, and that will help you plan your goals.
Yep. And I guess for us, we had a crazy year, and I think there's a lot we can talk about just to kind of visualize where we are despite everything.
Yeah. I feel like, so for a lot of us, 2020 kind of just started like a regular year. But if somebody told you at the end of 2020 or at the beginning of 2020 that it would look like it does now, we probably wouldn't have believed them. Like just everything that's happened, like the accumulation of all the events, it's kind of just like, it's still surreal that the year happened the way it did. But, a lot of us still have a lot to be thankful for. And, we need to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think a big part of like getting through hard times is to identify what you're grateful for. 'Cause I mean, especially for me, it's easy to think about all the things that are bad, but what's going to give you strength in order to continue to move forward, if not for realizing that it's not all bad. There are certain things that are, still good. You need to recognize it.
Yeah. There's still a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the idea behind this, this two-part episode, I guess. But before we get into that, we have a Would You Rather.
Yes. So I will read it. Would you rather be able to change the past or see into the future?
Change the past or see into the future? I think I'd rather be able to see into the future than to change the past. Yeah.
Why? Because I'm it's actually really hard for me to choose. Like I chose this one, but I'm still on the fence. So let me hear what you say before I commit to my decision.
Because I feel like if I'm seeing into the future and I'm not changing anything that happened already, I'm still me. Like I'm still who I am with the entire collection of all of the experiences that I've had. And I can choose to make better decisions and adjust and better my life based on how I think it's going to go. So if I see, I don't know, the Tesla stock is going to be like way up. I could probably dramatically change my future, or, it could be a different stock or whatever, based on that vision that I see. But if I go ahead and change the path, and we watch a lot of time travel shows, so you know how this stuff can get screwed up, where if you go into the past, it changes something that you probably didn't mean for it to change. So if who you are is a collection of your experiences and what you've been through and all of that, yeah, certain things could have been really bad, but you are here, and you have the opportunity to make it better.
I'm sorry, but that didn't sway me.
That's fine.
I'm really leaning towards being able to change the past, and I'm not really sure why that sounds more appealing than being able to see the future. But I think it's because I don't want to know. Like, the past has already happened, so I almost feel like changing, like, the ability to change the past and not being able to per se affect my future, but like only in a way that I don't really know what's going to happen. Like, I'm on a level playing field with other people. Like, I feel like if I know all the future, I feel like I'm going to be like, what's the point? What's the, like, I already know what's going to happen. Like, yeah, I might be sitting in a mansion one day because I had all these investments, but I'm literally going to be like, I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to know when you're going to die. I'm going to know when my kid's going to die. I'm going to know when I'm going to die. Like, I'm going to know. I know that turned really dark, but
die. That's
I
all I
know.
hear.
But I'm just saying, like I don't, there is like, it's nice to not know some of those things, because it helps me like savor the right now, because I feel like I'd have so much anxiety about all the things that I know are going to happen, and like I can't really tell, like you can't really share with someone if you knew what was going to happen. Like, it wouldn't be fair for me to tell you like you're going to die on this day at this time.
You shouldn't.
That's what I mean. So like now I'm carrying this like extra heavy load of like knowing everything that's going to happen. Like, that's, I don't know. That's too much. It's overwhelming.
You also carry the burden of potentially not doing something for someone that you care about. Like you're like, if you know something really bad happened to them in the past, you're looking at them right in the face, and you know you could help and change that situation. You're gonna want to help all the time and mess up the whole, time travel.
Nobody knows. It's
because that person's not going to be that person.
I'm just assuming that nobody knows that I can change the past or see into the future. We should have made it specific. It should have been be able to change our past or be able to see into our future specific to us. Because like I feel like with it being so open and being able to like change anything, like, but like when you watch those, like we watch a lot of like time travel like sci-fi shows, but like they have these like concepts that like if you go back into the future and like you change things, it like changes your current day too. So like I feel like both of these situations are less ideal, but I feel like knowing that I can change the past or seeing into the future, I feel like the past is a less anxiety.
I'd have more anxiety.
Really?
Because I'd be in redo mode all the time. Oh, I messed up. Redo. Redo.
You're going to be replaying the same day over and over again.
You saw how like I messed up in the intro and then I went to redo it.
That's life. Nope.
That's okay. But with your day went bad and then you redo the whole thing. That's stressful.
I guess.
But if I can have like a goal, and I know, okay, did I reach that goal in the future? Why didn't I? I'll adjust. It's still like moving forward in my eyes as opposed to like redo mode.
But I feel like both of them will kind of like, you can find yourself getting obsessed. If you're doing the past, you can redo the same day over and over again. Or the future, like if you have a specific goal and you like literally keep changing things, and why isn't this goal happening?
And like checking to see did I like we watched The Flash and I don't remember which character, but they were obsessed with, I think it was the Reverse Flash. They were obsessed with the future and trying to make as much changes to change the future, and they just got really obsessed with it, and I don't know. Yeah, we do add a lot of time.
But yeah, so I say past. I'd rather be able to change the past. And it sounds like you say future. So
No, I definitely say the future. But
yeah.
there's no right or wrong answer. Please share your response in the comments if you're on YouTube
or anywhere else,
or anywhere.
wherever you're seeing
Yeah,
this.
DM us.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Would you rather be able to change the past or see into the future?
Yep.
All right, so that's our would you rather.
So let's get right into the episode. We started talking about how we think setting goals is very important, and it's not always easy to accomplish your goals, and it's also not always easy to identify what goals you should focus on. And when we were discussing this, you mentioned something about creating SMART goals. I found that very interesting, and it's a great idea. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes.
What SMART goals are?
Yeah. So, but actually, you know what? Let's first, kind of focus on the before you even make the goals, like, because you'll need to figure out what you want your goals to be. But before you even get to that place, like, if you've made goals in the past, or if you had an idea of what you wanted your life to be and it's not like that, like, take time to really figure out what's different from what you envision for your life.
Yeah.
So you want to talk on that a little bit?
Yeah. So if you're constantly making a whole bunch of goals and they're not really giving you any sort of fulfillment to your expectations, maybe you're not really understanding where you are and what was actually needed for that moment. So I used to do this thing where, like, every day after work or before work, I would, like, just ask myself, and I know it's really corny or whatever, but it was great for me. I would talk to myself and basically ask myself, where am I in life? And it's like, in big terms, like, where am I generally, but it's also where am I business wise in terms of, like, job, career, relationships, and, like, that private time with myself, just trying to understand, who am I right now? Where am I? Where would I like to go? It helped kind of anchor me to understand, okay, I'm really being honest with myself, and I'm not just looking at whatever my ego is telling me, which could be really false. And that helped me understand, okay, what are the necessary steps that I need to take in order for me to focus on improving myself or improving my life and being happier.
So wait a minute. So you used to do this every day? That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it was therapeutic. So some people have different ways of, staying sane.
Yeah, I couldn't do that every day. That would kind of drive me crazy. I'm like so I think it's because you think a lot about, like, vision and, like, and all of that. I'm very, like, I'm a doer. So it's like I can't contemplate over things for a long time. Like, if I think of something, I try to just do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like one thing with this, as we're talking about kind of what works for us, figure out what advice you can take from us and what would work best for you based on your personality. Because if I had to do that every day, like, if somebody told me, like, that was the way, like, for you to assess where you are, I'd be like, there's no way. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it.
So what would work for you?
I honestly think just the concept of, I don't even know, like, just the concept of, like, a new year coming on, or, like, a new experience. Like, let's say you're starting a new job, or you're about to get married, or you're about to have a kid. I feel like as you transition through different stages of your life, I feel like my personality, that would be a good time to assess, like, what I want for myself. Like, this is where I'm at now. So what is next for me? I think even just the start of a new year can be a great time for, like, reflection, because I think that's really what we're trying to identify, like, that time to reflect on where we're at so that we can figure out what's next for us.
Got it. Assessing where you are at the beginning of the year. We used to do that all the time. I don't know if it was just us trying to be like the best married couple we could be. Like we thought that that was something that we should definitely do. But we had like a Google Drive Google Doc, and then we'd talk about like where are we and what are we trying to do, and that was like super helpful because if I know what she's trying to achieve and vice versa, we can support each other as opposed to you doing it completely on your own and I have no idea that that's something that you're trying to work on. We haven't done it in like maybe 2 years.
I don't think we didn't do it this year, but I think we did it the year before. I think it's really big for him for the vision, but I also saw the value in it because, it's every year, like people like to make goals for the new year, but like if you kind of take a step back and don't think about it as like just a goal for the new year and you really try to be intentional with like what you want for your life, any changes you want to make, it's really a great exercise to do. That's kind of why we continue to do it. And we would even like check our progress. I'm trying to remember what were some of our goals. There were some of them were financial. So we wanted to, save X amount of money.
Some of them were financial. Some of them were relationships. I mean, relationship wise, like among
better communication,
like patience or like better listening, that kind of stuff.
I'm trying to think if I put travel goals on there.
I think you did.
I probably did.
I think you did.
Like 2 cruises a year.
We wanted. I think we probably put a variation of incomes to money on there. But
it might have just been starting a business together or something like that. Something because we're both kind of business minded. So that was something that we wanted to be intentional about because we both wanted it. But if we didn't talk about it and make it happen, then it wouldn't happen.
So why was it important for us to do that? And what benefit do you feel like we got from it? Like, can you imagine if we didn't do it?
What do you mean? Didn't make the goals?
If we didn't do those goals together, do you feel like it made a big difference that we did?
I think it helped with accountability because with writing it down, it's kind of like we made it real. So if we write it down at the beginning of the year and then we don't check our progress and then we look at it at the end of the year, if we didn't do anything towards it, like it's kind of like you said you wanted to do this and you didn't do it. So like that's on you versus when you kind of just say like, hey, I want to do this thing, or you think of it, but you never write it down. And it's kind of like, well, it was just a thought, it wasn't anything like real.
You could still back out of it.
Yeah. You could be like, oh, well, I just thought of it. Like, it's fine. So like, for example, if like you say you want to go back to school and you had like at the beginning of the year, you were like, I'm going to research classes in the spring and I'm going to start school in the fall for this program. And then December comes and you're like, oh, wow, I like had plans to do this. I didn't just say like, oh, maybe I'll go back to school. I actually was supposed to do these things and I wanted this for myself, but I didn't do it. And I don't know. I feel like it makes it more real, the exercise.
Yeah. So let's stick with that example of someone saying, I want to go back to school in December. What is like a good process to identify, okay, this is something that I should even strive for versus something that I shouldn't even spend much time on?
I think it really just goes down to what you want for your life. So in this example, if you are working a job that you don't love and you want to get out of there and you've always had a passion for, let's say nursing. Let's say you've always had a passion for nursing. You wanted to be a nurse, but you're working some other job and you're kind of just thinking it's unattainable. But at the beginning of the year, you're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to research programs. I'm going to, if I can't start by this spring, because I know some of the programs, the enrollment is like a specific amount of time. So it might not be spring, it might be next winter or whatever, but making that time to say, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to start researching. This is going to happen. Like, even if your goal doesn't happen, like the fact that you took steps toward it, you can take that time to kind of reassess where you're at now And like, if you can't start the program when you initially started, then you set a new goal for yourself. And I feel like there's so much value in being able to do that and being able to say, I'm not happy with where things are, but I want to do something different. And here are the things I'm going to try to do so that I can get towards that. Because even if you don't make it, the fact that you're going through those steps, that's, you kind of did make it. It's a pattern change.
That's true. So even if you don't make the ultimate goal that you're trying to achieve, you've made progress and you should be happy about that. But then there's also like splitting those goals into more obtainable chunks or more attainable chunks. Like and this is where the assessing like assessing where you are and like taking a true honest audit of what your life looks like right now. Like if you have a passion for nursing and right now currently you have 10 kids and don't have a lot of time, so you might feel like, okay, maybe not this year, but I want to, by the end of the year, at least identify where I'm going to go to school and also build up the budget so that I can pay for it. So you're not like it, because when you go way too big compared to like what you have like the available resources that you have, it might discourage you from even taking one step because you're gonna think, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, so if you have a goal where you're saying, I want to do this, maybe try to break it down into smaller chunks that fit well for the amount of resources that you have currently. And that comes with understanding, how much time do you have right now? Like really, how much time do you really have? How much money do you have? Do you need money? How much money do you need? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What kind of connections do you have?
It's really being really thoughtful, like as you're making these goals. So I'm bringing up SMART goals. So this is a concept, you know, when you're doing goal setting, you want your goals to be SMART. And a SMART goal, it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So specific, you want to make sure that, you know, I actually identify what you want your goal to be.
Or else you can easily say, no, that's not really what I meant. It's too, because if it's too vague, you could easily slip out.
Yeah, you can back out of it, and that's not what you want. You want to actually achieve this goal. And then measurable, you want it to be something that, you know, you want to be able to measure your success.
You want to know when you did it.
Yeah, it can't be vague.
Did it right.
Achievable, something that you can actually do. It's so easy to get discouraged because you make a goal that you can't actually achieve. Like it's too out there. When you're setting a goal, you don't have to all the way get to the end goal. If it's like a 5-year plan, like you can start with the first step, then the second step, and those can be your goals. And then relevant, there's also some other examples of like realistic, like you want it to be, I guess, how would you describe that?
Like if you have a huge passion of being a underwater basket weaver.
What? Oh my gosh.
Right? But you know it's not going to make you any money, but at some point in the future you want to do that. And you also have a passion of becoming a nurse. Which one is the most relevant to you and your lifestyle right now, and choose that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't have time for everything.
And time bound. So, you know, we use the example of like things we wanted to do in a year, but like it's, if your goal is in the future, if your goal is like, you know, end of the road, point. Like 10 years from now, like it's going to be really hard for you to, you know, stay on track with that. So try to set a specific time, I guess, like time to achieve the goal. So for example, like I'll just say a quick one. So like, for example, one of our goals for next year is to get an investment property. So we could easily say, you know, by when? June? Yeah, should be June. By June 2021, we will, you know, have saved how much?
Enough for an investment property, because it really depends on.
Yeah, so we have to come up with a number.
We will have to come up with an actual number.
Yeah, so let's say it's, I don't know, 20,000. So the goal for that would be by June 2021, we will have saved $20,000 for our first investment property. So like it's specific, it's sorry, I forgot all of them again. It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant to what we want to do for our future, and it's time bound. We're saying by this time.
Yep. Smart goals. So like, where are we right now? Like, 2020 has happened. We didn't actually write down our goals for this year, but I feel like
I don't really know why that happened.
I feel like we probably talked about it though. I feel like we talked about what we are trying to do, what's on our mind, kind of like a meeting of the minds kind of thing. So going into 2020, we started doing an Amazon business, and that was rolling over from the goal from the previous year. So it just kind of continued. And we did that. We started selling swaddle blankets.
We had a whole brand.
It was
an LLC and everything.
Yeah. That is a fun venture.
Yeah, it's still kind of crazy. Like, we're still doing it, and just the whole process of learning about Amazon, FBA, was it Fulfillment by Amazon? Just the whole process of learning like what you need to do, like contacting suppliers and, figuring out what product you want. Like, I never thought that I would do something like that personally.
But like before we started the business, we started doing these business meetings, and like,
because he loves his meetings, but I understand they're required.
Like it helped us make really great, relevant decisions, because our first business meeting wasn't really about business. It was about us. It was about our strengths, our weaknesses.
It was about our partnership.
Yes, it was. Because like it's completely irrelevant if like whatever we actually do is completely irrelevant, and doesn't even matter if we don't know what we want and how we're going to do it and what our strengths and weaknesses are. Because I might get into it and I absolutely hate this. And it would be much better to understand what you like and what you don't want to do earlier on, and that comes with assessing yourself, assessing where you are, and that helped us understand, okay, yeah, we can do a FBA business. This is a good one. And it was all brought out from like that meeting. We felt more comfortable about it because we have a great foundation of understanding how you'll operate as a partner, how all operate as a partner. I'm stuttering over my words. And then we can just go up from there.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like, there's still these are things like how long? So we've been married since 2016, so for 4 years, and I feel like, and we've known each other for about 6 now, and I feel like we're gonna keep learning every day.
Absolutely.
Like, even 10 years from now, we're still gonna be like, we're learning more about each other as business partners and as married couple. And I feel like a lot of these things that we're doing now, they're helping us like kind of prepare for all these future steps. Like, it's a continuous process. So what else this year?
Going into the year, you were actually not working. You were a stay-at-home mom.
I wasn't.
And so that was not part of
that wasn't the plan. That was no plan. So it's really crazy to think about it, because this time last year, like, not even, I had been out of my job for like a month. So I had started 2019 pregnant, and I had no plans of leaving my job. Like, I knew I was going to go on maternity leave in April, have Kason in May, and then take off like 5 months and then go back to work. That's what everybody does, right? That was going to happen. But as time was approaching to go back to work, like I didn't want to anymore. I wanted to spend more time with my son. And I feel like it was kind of weird. I wasn't prepared for the me just changing my mind and how I felt. And like, that's really just an example of the fact that you can have like goals for yourself, but you might feel differently and you might want to change what your goals are. So there's a difference between, being content and being like happy where you are, and then being kind of unmotivated. Because I feel like I was afraid that I was looking like I was unmotivated and I didn't want to do anything. But the fact was, I was just really content and I wanted to enjoy this stage of, motherhood and spending time with my son. And I had motivations, but my motivations at that moment were to spend as much time as I could with this growing baby. And like the fact that I had different goals for myself for the year, and like it didn't, like it kind of just blew up, like that's okay, like it's fine, like, but being able to reassess like we talked about and like really look at what's important to you and what do you want, and changing that.
Yeah. I think this is actually a really good topic for a future, because there's so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
Because there's your perspective and then there's my perspective as well.
Yeah, we'll do an episode on that probably in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, definitely. But that was a big change, because neither of us was expecting that to happen. Yeah. And we had to kind of navigate through it, and reassess. Okay, so now that this is happening, what are we gonna do? How are we going to budget and etc. So going into 2020, you were a stay-at-home mom, and then COVID happened. I was going into the office every day, and then when COVID happened, I'm working from home.
Yeah, work from home, daddy.
And then we started looking at like investment properties, and we got crazy about them. Like we started learning more about each other by analyzing these investment property deals.
Low key, we were obsessed.
Yeah,
we were obsessed with real estate, with investment properties, multifamily,
especially
some mixed
one
use.
specific property.
Yeah.
We were like drawing up the blueprint of the house and designing.
We were truly envisioning ourselves in this investment property.
Yeah, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best move, and we learned from that. But what we also recognized from this unexpected new goal that we have now, we realized that we wanted to learn more about real estate, and didn't want to completely depend on an agent to educate us on every little thing about the process. So we felt like we needed to educate ourselves and equip ourselves with the understanding of how to get a good deal and what to look for. So because it was COVID, there were these courses that you can take on Zoom to become an agent.
Yeah. So in New Jersey, prior to COVID, you could not take a real estate, like a real estate course online. You had, or through Zoom, like any kind of virtual course, you had to do it in person. And probably we wouldn't have been able to take it because we had a son that was tiny. So I wanted to do it full time, or the course. So it was like 2 weeks full time. And Pekens, at night, it was, the class started at 5:20, and he worked in Philly. So the drive, just getting,
it would not have worked.
It just wouldn't have fit into our schedule. But with COVID, they allowed you to take it on Zoom. So we kind of just said, hey, look at this. I think your class started in like 2 days or something, and then mine started the following Monday, and we just did it.
Yeah, we just did it. So it wasn't a planned thing, but
it was a new goal.
It was a new goal. It was a new goal that we had to kind of make on the spot because,
But that's how I do mine. I'm just like, I want to do this, so I do it.
Yeah.
So I'm rubbing off on him a little bit.
Well, the thing is, yeah, I guess so, because like I've wanted to, learning more about real estate was always a goal for me, but I never really took initiative on it. So, it's great that it happened. I mean, I'm not doing much with it right now, but I learned more, and you're the real estate agent.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's another thing that happened this year, and that's definitely something that we should consider for going into next year. That's something that, you're in real estate, you're doing it. This is completely different from last year, because I don't think you would have imagined that you'd be doing real estate.
If you'd have asked me, I would have been like, oh, that's so random. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have thought about it. But now actually being in it, like I can't really imagine not doing it. Like it's such a good fit for where I'm at. Like I get to spend so much time with Keeson, and I get to, work on my deals from home. I'm doing a lot of communicating. I'll do showings, and it works out really well because you're working from home. So I can pop out and do a showing and come back.
Yeah. So yeah, that's real estate. Fast forward a little bit more, and we have In Comes the Money. And, we know that we could do something like In Comes the Money because of our business meeting and how we have mutual goals, and this allows us to accomplish those.
Yeah.
So now that we know, I mean, we have this platform now. You're a real estate agent. Like, we're trying to assess where we are, what we have, what kind of resources are available to us. I guess now we're in a better position to figure out what goals would be the most impactful, which ones are the most realistic.
Yeah. So you're literally like watching us like think about this stuff, because we haven't had our meeting yet. We will have it. And, we're taking the time right now to kind of explain kind of why it's important to us. And like, we're really going to do this.
Yeah. I know for In Comes the Money. Well, we said that we would separate this into the second episode.
Yeah, don't give them too much yet.
Yeah.
That's some of it's for the second part.
So you gotta listen to the second part. But if I think one of the things that we recognized is there are goals that you can plan for, and there are goals that you won't be able to plan for. But understanding where you are will allow you to either push forward to accomplish those goals, or at least be able to navigate when you are faced with something completely unexpected.
And I think one thing that's really important to note is you can have a goal for yourself, but a major part of the reassessing we're talking about, that can happen at any point. Like, you don't have to, while it's ideal to complete the goal, if you realize at some point that the goal isn't what you want anymore, then that's the opportunity to reassess, to figure out what you do want now. Yeah. Just because you set a goal for yourself doesn't mean that you have to stick with that goal until it's done if it's not right for you anymore.
Yeah. So I guess a few good exercises to take from this episode is be extremely grateful for the things that you do have. Because someone else does not have what you have. And the more that you understand how lucky you are just to even be alive after 2020, and so many other things, the stronger that you'll feel to, I guess, move forward and try to accomplish more things, or just try to be happier. I used to do that all the time. Like, what are you actually grateful for? And then it'll kind of it should overshadow all of the negative things that are, I guess, depressing you.
Yeah. And I feel like at the end of the year, for some people, especially after Thanksgiving, it's a lot of time spent reflecting. So thinking about the things you're thankful for, kind of thinking about the year. And if you're already doing that, after that happens, shift that thought process into next year, figuring out what's next for you.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, where are you? Like in your own terms, where are you based off of your personal expectations, and how far away are you from that? And then try to figure out what is missing. I know where I am. I know where I'm trying to go. What's missing? And then plugging in those like gaps. Those are going to be your goals.
Yeah. Sounds like a great place to start.
Yeah. So, do we have anything else we want to share with our audience before we wrap it up? Because we said one of our goals is to make our episodes a little bit more concise. Right.
I think we're making progress. So tell us what you guys think. So we're trying really hard to, be intentional. Like we're actually like in the process of setting goals for the podcast. So we're really trying to make sure that we're delivering quality content, but with that, we're also giving it to you in a way that's like really digestible and relatable. So let us know your thoughts. We welcome it. Let us know in the comments.
We reread the comments.
Yeah, we do.
One thing that someone said was they thought that I had a radio voice, and I should up my energy a little bit. So I'm gonna try to work on that.
This is a little bit up, if you guys can imagine. He's very like
I'm not faking it. This
right before we hit record, he was like, so, and it was just such a like, I don't know, you were just super like you're just so mellow all the time.
I am.
So it's good for when we're not on camera, like if they're just listening.
But I need to push.
Yeah, you need to like energy.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's a goal for me. I'm gonna start talking like this, like all the other YouTube people.
There's too much hands.
That's half of it.
But yeah, so we're working on it. This is a work in progress. What is this? I don't even know, sixth episode?
Sixth recorded. Maybe fifth pushed out because we have another episode that we haven't pushed out yet.
Okay. So again, this episode was Setting Goals Part 1. Where are you now? And stay tuned for the second part of this episode. It'll be Setting Goals Part 2. Where are you going?
Yeah, so stay tuned. Stick with us. We're getting better day by day. Let us know if you have any comments, feedback, suggestions. We're very open to all of that. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you guys.